Right, 18 May 2025, and today is a Sunday, one of the most important days, one of the most important news days in Zimbabwe. So today, we've got a very important story, and I want to take you through this story very carefully because it's very important. Mnangagwa is gone. So you must know that Mnangagwa is gone. Mnangagwa is just being managed out. There is a process to make sure that Mnangagwa goes legally and without any issues. So let me take you through a trending story coming from this week in court. So there were a number of soldiers that were in court this week appealing against their incarceration. So they've been jailed for over 200 years in jail. That is Zimbabwean soldiers. The soldiers went back to court this week, and the purpose why they went back to court was they wanted to be released since they were jailed for such a long period of time. The reason why they were jailed, according to their statements, is that the Zimbabwe government or the Zimbabwe Special Forces or Special Air Services, which is the elite special forces of Zimbabwe, carried out a mission at a hospital in Hurungwe and assigned them to attack this hospital, which is funded by people in the US, individuals, private individuals, and organizations in the USA. The hospital is called Chidamoyo Hospital, and it was founded and led by Kathy or Sister Kathy McCarthy over here. So initially, it was not clear why the 10 soldiers were involved in this mission. The mission actually happened around July 2020, and it involved senior officers of the Zimbabwe National Army. However, it has become clear why the Zimbabwe Army is abandoning these guys. Specifically, this is the commanding officer of the Zimbabwe Special Air Services, Taringana Kaspanyagura. And the reason why he is abandoning them and saying that he does not know anything about it is, firstly, you don't cross the Americans. That's a bad idea. I always tell you guys here that you don't cross the Americans. So they're just afraid. That's all. Firstly, they are terribly afraid of what can happen if they agree that they sanction this mission. So the poor soldiers are now being made to take the fall, whereas the order came straight from Mnangagwa himself. So the way that the Special Air Services works is that the commander of the Zimbabwe National Army, that is Valerius Banda here, is directly responsible for issuing commands about missions. So any special forces mission has to be sanctioned directly from the office of Valerius Banda. And after it is sanctioned by the office of Valerius Banda, the order then goes straight from the commanding officer of the that is Taringana here, of the Special Air Services. It then gives the order. Unfortunately, in this particular case, Taringana is refusing. That is the one who gave the order, and he is blaming his second in command, Fortune Murondatsimba, for carrying out the mission. The mission was wide and included members of the Zimbabwe intelligence. In fact, more people were involved in this operation. And the soldiers have revealed in court that this operation was part of a counterintelligence operation, and also it is similar and consistent with previous operations that they've been involved in. So the soldiers who were involved here include Chadmore Chikaingesu, who was given 35 years, Trust Hapanyengwi, Ruka Biton, Nyoni, Mitwell Moyo, Ishmael Zibula, and Spencer Chingondo. So these guys are in jail serving 30 years, minimum 30 years. And Mnangagwa, who gave the orders, and Valero Sibanda, who gave the orders, and the men that you are seeing here, Taringa and Kaspa Nyagura, who gave the orders, are all denying that they gave the orders. And yet it is clear that this was an operation by the Zimbabwe military. And the purpose was, they thought that this hospital was somehow harboring or was being involved in operations by the Americans in Zimbabwe. So that is why they call it a counterintelligence operation. And it is said that there are many of these operations. That means they were supposed to go in there, collect documents, collect information, and find out certain things. However, these guys, the mistake that they made was that they used guns that can be traced back to the Zimbabwe National Army. So the reason why they were taken to court-martial was that they used the guns that can be traced back to the Zimbabwe National Army. This is in the actual docket of the actual charge sheet of the Zimbabwe National Army court-martial that found these guys guilty. They are lucky that they were not killed because you know that in Zimbabwe, some of these things result in a sudden and unexplained death. Your family will just get a message that you died in action. That is what was going to happen to these 10 guys. But they were lucky because it is a serious problem for the Zimbabwe National Army. If the guns that was used are then traced back to the army, it means someone released the guns. So I do not even know why these guys are in jail, because it's clear that this was a sanctioned operation, and it was meant to find out if the Americans were doing something at this hospital called Chidamoyo Hospital, one of the most successful hospitals. People travel kilometers and kilometers to go to this hospital, the first hospital in Zimbabwe to deliver HIV-free babies. And it's crazy that the Zimbabwean government were involved in this mission to attack the hospital. And obviously, they had to make it like an attack. They stole a very small amount of money of about $1,700 and a few rands, and also some Zimbabwe dollars, I think about 30,000 Zimbabwe dollars. So a very interesting case in which the Zimbabwean military has been caught with their hands in the jar, and Mnangagwa, Valero Sibanda, totally involved in this embarrassing situation. As you can see, the Zimbabwe Special Air Services not being used for anything to do with defending the country, but in fact used for political purposes. There was some political purpose in all this activity. Right, I think I've covered it. If you've got any questions, go over into the comments and ask. Let's see what else I've missed here. Now, let me quickly go through a few news stories. Then I'll be back here a bit later. Let's go to the University of Zimbabwe. It's shocking what's happening at the University of Zimbabwe. The University of Zimbabwe has failed to write examinations this week. Students could not write because lecturers have been on strike for over a month, demanding a minimum salary of $2,500, which was their previous salary. And there has been a stalemate as the university is failing to address the requirements or the demands of the lecturers. So the students have obviously not written their exams. Then yesterday was Miss Universe Zimbabwe the 3rd, and you can go and look at Plot Marco here is posted. Grace Mugabe, one of the people present. How beautiful is she? Can you believe that she is looking like before? That's amazing. Grace Mugabe. Let's see what Minnie has posted. You know that Minnie, I think she is the owner of this pageant. Let's see what she has posted. I'm going to look at her Facebook right now. Minnie, one of my favorite persons. I cannot go a day without checking her Facebook. So let's see what she is saying here. So she's still showing us the judges. So the official judge includes Rosanna Hall, Paloma Mulunjwana, Who is Paloma Mlunjwana? She's looking good. Who is Tsungai Makwanya? And Brooke Brack Johnson. Is that your real name? Brooke Brack Johnson. And then we've got Zach Hauer judging the ladies. And obviously, guest of honor and guest judge, Connie Ferguson. What an interesting event. Go and check it out. And you can also see her arrival here. Looking very good here. You can see Zodwa over there. I don't have anything to say about Zodwa. And then you've got them sitting here on the nice couch at the airport. And obviously, you know that Minnie is the only woman with a gun in Zimbabwe. The only woman with a gun. So go check it out. Very interesting what happened at Miss Universe Zimbabwe. I do not know what happened. Who are the winners, the actual winners? I was not actually watching this yesterday. So I'll give you an update on it when I come back later today. Then in South Africa, there is a massive development. President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be traveling to the United States of America this week. This is the first visit by President Ramaphosa ever since President Trump took office. And this is important because America has placed sanctions on South Africa for basically two reasons. South Africa has been involved in a case where they support Hamas, and they've also been involved in a case of genocide against the Afrikaners, according to the US president. So there is a high-level delegation that is supposed to meet with Elon Musk, and this delegation includes Reynold Lamola, Pax Tau, Kumbuzo Njaveni, and DA leader John Steenhuisen, who is in charge of agriculture, and BBC Jonasi is going to be over there, and also Alista Reuters. So they are going over there to try and explain the policies of South Africa and to try to get the USA to reverse their decision to place sanctions on South Africa. Massive sanctions on South Africa. South Africa is undergoing one of the biggest challenges. The economy is falling, and after USA left the country, over 500,000 jobs affected, and the economy of South Africa tanking, including the rand, which is doing very badly. Without America, South Africa is no one. I've been saying this for a very, very long time. An African country cannot do without the support of the Americans, because America is the home of capital. If they remove their capital from your country, you suffer very badly. Hence, the decision by President Cyril Ramaphosa over here to travel to the United States of America. Now, let's see what happens. I'm going to be following this very closely. In fact, I'm going to be making sure that anything that happens during this trip, I follow it and I update you on it. What else do we have? Okay. Taylor to host Nickelodeon Kids' Choice. Taylor, she's amazing. I want to now go to the Sunday Mirror newspaper. Let's see if the Sunday Mirror newspaper is published. Very interesting to see what happens on Sundays in Zimbabwe. So Sunday Mirror has published. Good job, guys. I don't like people who sleep on the job. So it's showing that these guys are not sleeping on the job. Keep it up, Sunday Mirror newspaper, because we don't want a newspaper who publishes late, like the Herald. Most times the Herald is late, and I slam them every day. So you can see here the picture of Mnangagwa with the president of Belarus, Alexander. I don't even know how to pronounce this name. It's shocking. It's a shocking surname, but check him out over there. Mnangagwa was so happy. And he always goes to these things that make no sense. Auxilia Mnangagwa at a cookout, this was embarrassing. No one came to the Zimbabwe stand. You can see that no one came there. It was so sad to watch. I covered this last night. Massive humiliation for Auxilia Mnangagwa. Went over to Kukumaguru and the Worms in France. Very, very sad. And then let's see what else is over here. What is this thing? EU Zimbabwe Business Forum. This is amazing. 20 to 22 May 2025. I should have known about this. I was going to go and attend, but unfortunately, I didn't know about it. And then obviously, a lot of things about Auxilia Mnangagwa. Remember what Mdarageza said. Auxilia Mnangagwa now running the Zimbabwe government in the absence of Mnangagwa, who is not feeling well. All right, so this is the newspaper. I don't know if there's anything here that I want to cover, but I'll quickly look at it. And if something catches my eye, I'll give it to you during my afternoon address. So look at those adverts. Don't not read this newspaper. The Sunday Mail, the biggest newspaper in Zimbabwe. And then Amara Brown expecting second child. So Amara Brown is expecting a second child. She's already a mother of a 13-year-old son, Camille, and she has a husband. I didn't know that she was married, but she does have a husband. That is Todakona Mwana Uyu, kuti anenge akafanana nani. Remember what I've shown you in the past, just Google it. She's amazing, she's interesting. Pakanaka, Pakadaro. Now let's go to Sunday News, Zimbabwe. Sunday News, Zimbabwe, if you published, no, sleeping on the job. Let's go. In fact, let me check. Otherwise, I'll accuse them of sleeping on the job when they're not sleeping on the job. So today is the 18th. Okay, it's there. I'm sorry, guys. Right. So someone is speaking about Gukurahundi. Gukurahundi awareness campaign kicks off. So traditional leaders are doing it. You can go check it out over there. And then the Liberation War heroine Madea Mangena was buried in Kulumane yesterday. I watched it. And Obed Mpofu over here presiding over the whole thing. You know, I told you that Obed Mpofu is going to be fired. Very soon, Mnangagwa is planning to fire Obed Mpofu. Very, very soon, from my sources. And then their jobs in the Parliament of Zimbabwe, mandate of appointing. So there are many, many jobs here. Information communication technology, director of health, etc, etc. You can go check it out there. Many, many jobs. What else do we have? In the Bulawayo, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has appointed Cassandra Sibanda. Cassandra Sibanda is now the RBZ, what we call managing director at the Bulawayo office. That is where they mint coins. So all the coins in Zimbabwe are made at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe office in Bulawayo. What a nice office, opposite the CIO office over there. So ukaona wapinda office here, watambura, waparara. Office chema CIO, bunzai mpana uyu, ostalos, anopaziva. And then let's see what else is in here of interest. Guys, there is a guy who passed away in an accident. This guy, Moton Kombai, last week, I don't know what has happened. Has he been buried? I don't know. And then we lost, obviously, Sensei Mugabe over here. Accidents are taking people in Zimbabwe because the roads are bad. So the roads are very bad. And if you believe that Zimbabwe's politics won't affect you, just watch these poor guys. They were taken away by the roads. Mnangagwa arikuuraya vanhu nema-road. Mnangagwa arikuuraya vanhu nenzara. That man is dangerous to us all. If you don't believe it, listen and watch carefully. One day, it's going to affect you. What is happening in Zimbabwe is a concern to everyone. Mnangagwa has mismanaged the roads. Look at what has happened at Mbudzi interchange or Trababalas interchange. In Zimbabwe, there's only one interchange. One. Can you believe that? 40 years after independence, Mnangagwa has only built one little interchange. They are fixing that hole, which was shown in pictures. Poor engineering. The whole thing collapsed. And let me tell you something about these interchanges. They are very easy to build. If you go to Mozambique, they have built the interchanges, hundreds and hundreds of them. As you drive from South Africa to Maputo, you're going to see they've already put the interchanges before the road is there. So they plan for it. In Zimbabwe, Mugabe will never do it. And this thing has cost 80 million instead of the planned 27 million. And most of that money has gone into Tagure, Kudatagure pocket. Kudatagure, through his company, Kaya Cement, got the tender to supply cement, but failed. So they failed to supply cement. That is why this bridge took so long to complete. And also, much of the money was looted that was meant to finance people who owned properties around here. So sad situation, nothing will ever come out of Mnangagwa. It will always be a mess. It's clear that it's always a mess. Anything to do with Mnangagwa is a mess. Now let's look at Sunday World newspaper very quickly before I go. Sunday World, South Africa. What are the stories in here? So Mandashe Sun speaks out. I think it's unfair that I found guilt of public opinion because I'm born of a politician. That is the young man who is trending in South Africa. Mahu Sliga was after defamatory boob. What a defamatory boob that is happening here. Mahu's legal was after defamatory boob. Go check it out. I don't know what it's about. I don't know who is Mahu. I actually don't follow her on anything. Let's see. Faku launches xenophobic attack on AKS manager over royalties. So has dragged the Benza, a Liberian national, to the Johannesburg High Court, seeking order to force him to disclose his accounting books and to remit payments of her royalties. So that is Ami Faku here. Go check it out. AKS manager has been attacked, and that is the man here that is being attacked. Ami Faku's manager, Raphael Benza. So I'll give you a bit more detail on this later on because I haven't got much of the details here. Very interesting newspaper. I like this newspaper. Home Affairs scripts Betway secret Wi-Fi deal. A lot of stories about a lot of people. And then ex-lover links Msibi to her dismissal. Former Malanga, MEC Mandla Msibi, and exit of Mbombela Chief Financial Officer, Delight Siva Nyoni. So massive stories, you can go check them out. This newspaper in South Africa gives all the entertainment stories. And obviously, South African newspapers always on time. There's no day when I opened the South African newspapers and I found them not there. They're always on time. So Zimbabwe newspapers, they must also do the same. And as usual, Gambakwe Media, the top media house in Zimbabwe, almost 100,000 people every day coming to Gambakwe to watch, to see what we're talking about, to see what is trending. We're going to do very, very well. All of us, Zimbabwe is on the verge of a massive change. Mnangagwa is gone. Right, I would like to bring this to an end now, and I'll come back a bit later. Let's look at comments. Gambakwe, do you know that there are many ways to make money than to lie? Amutengi doro, wapana. Amutengi doro. Takaudza shoni kuti atenge doro, akatadza. Saka toramba tichinyeba, zviri legendary. Thank you for the news update, Gambakwe. Guys, inini, I will never be bought. Media, I've been doing media since 1998, when we were the first newspaper, the NAST Observer, the NAST SRC of the National University of Science and Technology, gave me my first fund to publish the NAST Observer, and I've been there since 1998, when the MDC was formed. And look at all the other media houses. Let's look at the media houses of Zimbabwe. Let me show you what's happening. Vaka Tengwa, Vaka Broker. So let's look at another point 5. Aruti chimpano akatengwa akabroker. So what happens is when you are bought, if they don't pay you, you stop publishing, right? Or uno publish does not make sense, right? So in fact, I want to share with you my newspaper, Zimbabwe. Isuzu will publish 4 times a day. Myself alone, I publish 4 times a day. We've got a news team that publishes more than 10 times a day. That is what we call a media house. So we are going to stop to coup underway in Zimbabwe. General Chiwenga said to replace Mnangagwa, right? That is at least 1, 2, per 5 days. Akaita my video 3. In 5 days, Gambakwe has 60 videos. Do you understand what I'm talking about? 60 compared to 1. Let's go to Zimbabwe. Uyu cousin wa Hubert Angel. So let's go to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe arikuti 5 days ago, 18 days ago, was Panapa, which told us basa. Let's go to my favorite person, Rumbi and Censored. Who is Rumbi and Censored? I like it. I like Rumbi. We used to have long conversations. But she stabbed me in the back. Let's see when she last published. So Rumbi and Censored 1 day ago, 5 days ago, 8 days ago, 3 weeks ago. So in 3 weeks, she has published 4 videos. Gambakwe in 3 weeks. So in a day, we publish 10. In 14 days, we publish 140, which means Gambakwe has published 140 videos, whereas Rumbi has published 4. Who else? Let's go to my young man here, young Zigo. Zigo was running Gambakwe. So the Gambakwe that you know now was run by Zigo. He was the manager of everything at Gambakwe. So 1 day, 3 days, 4 years, I don't know. 4 days Zigo, Kutamangu Zigo. 4 days. That means no other media house in Zimbabwe comes close. In fact, Ana Zigo, the problem with Ana Zigo, what happened is that they allowed Passion Java is the one who corrupted the social media of Zimbabwe. He sort of took everybody from my team, Ana Zigo, Ana Kundai, a whole bunch of guys left with the Passion Java just ahead of the elections. And that's why they end up with jobs in the public sector, in the public media. But Gambakwe, the home of news, you cannot ever accuse Gambakwe of not being present. Any story that you want to hear, it will be on Gambakwe, and other stories that no one else will publish. And I've got people that I respect in the media space, but most people have been bought, vakatengwa, vakabroker, and unfortunately, that is how it is. However, I want to give a special shout out to Bishop Kevin Nyamakanga. I like Bishop Kevin Nyamakanga, the only person who consistently publishes on a daily basis. And I hope that he does continue doing this. It's important to hear my opinions. Last night, we also had a big broadcast by TF Chiwenga, doing very, very well. You can go check it out. He can talk for hours and hours. And I was not going to tuka na Chiwenga unobva watoenda wega kudenga that day. Chiwenga anogona tuka man. And anotaura zvinhu zviri deep. He is popular, that man. I think after Gambakwe, Talent Chiwenga is probably the second most popular person. And then obviously Makandiwa. I love Makandiwa. When he was a student pastor, I spent a lot of time listening to Makandiwa before he had any money. Achipfeka zvimatrauzi zvinogumira apa pamusoro uchiona masocks. That was Makandiwa doing very, very well. And amazing. The media landscape of Zimbabwe is amazing. But a problem, Amutengi Doro. I don't trust this guy, this 0.5 guy. His topics are suspicious. Yeah, no, baka badarwa, baka broker. What else do we have? Yes, I forgot one important topic. Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa. Right, let's go to Nelson Chamisa. I want to show you his face. So Nelson Chamisa is going to be launching his party in August. I've talked to very highly placed sources who say Nelson Chamisa is going to be launching his party in August. And this party is going to be formed on the foundation of some recalls. So if you go to the Newsday newspaper, they've revealed that shortly, Timba is going to send out a recall to all the MPs in parliament who are in the opposition. So every single MP that is in parliament will get a recall letter, and then by-elections will be held on these recalled seats. And as soon as Nelson Chamisa forms his party, the party will contest in these by-elections. And then impeachment is going to take place. So I don't know if this is going to happen now or if that is going to happen in August, but that is the plan. The plan is to recall all opposition MPs, and then Nelson Chamisa's new party is going to contest. You can go and check out that story inside of the not Newsday, of the Standard newspaper. So that is the Standard newspaper. In fact, let me show you. I had to talk about something that I do not or cannot support. So let me show you the story so that you can see it. This is a big thing because the recall of Mnangagwa or the impeachment of Mnangagwa depends on this, what is said here. So let me show you very quickly so that you understand. In fact, if there was no military story, this was going to be my lead story. So that is rival CC factions plot records linked to 2030. Go and check it out in the Standard newspaper. Timba is leading one faction. One faction is led by Sengezo Shabangu, and another faction is led by Welshman Ngube. Sengezo Shabangu is recently lost in court. So Welshman Ngube now owns all the MPs. And the Timba is going to recall all of them. He's going to write to Mudenda and recall all of them. And then there'll be new by-elections, about 80 by-elections in total, if I'm not mistaken. And Chamisa's new party will field candidates and win according to this article. Go check it out and be amazed. Drama is about to start in our country. Once again, there will be a drama, and the drama will have a main actor, Nelson Chamisa. The name Nelson Chamisa is synonymous with action in the Zimbabwean political space, and that means you'll be having head-to-head fighting between Chamisa and Welshman Ngube. Now, let me see if Chamisa has published anything. In fact, my Twitter is not working for some reason. It's as if suddenly it stopped. But we've got a phone. So let's look on the phone, because the one that's failed to work is the one online. So let me go to Nelson Chamisa. Chamisa shared a photo. It says here, right, check out this long post by Nelson Chamisa. Right, you see it? I'm going to read it. Do it daily, and daily in the temple and in every house. They did not cease teaching and preaching Jesus as the Christ and Savior. Acts 5, verse 32. The world is our field of labor, and whatever is our station or rank in life, we should seek to preach salvation daily, make Jesus Christ known, and to glorify his name. We are all called to our Lord Jesus Christ. It's a great invitation and great commission to make disciples out of all nations. It matters not the attack or ridicule, the cost or criticism. Stop not and cease not the teaching of and preaching of the true gospel of salvation. The apostles preached and taught the gospel every day with grace, consistency, and assiduity, both publicly and privately, making it their core business to spread the gospel. They were punished for preaching, and they commanded strictly not to preach the word, yet they preached an unabated zeal and indefatigable diligence, omitting not opportunity of doing it every day. They will not alter their subject to please those who oppose them. It ought to be the constant business of believers to preach Christ, Christ in him crucified, Christ in him glorified, Christ dying for us, Christ living in us, nothing besides this or what is reductible to it. To glory is the cross, to suffer shame, endured for Christ's sake, the highest honor, and wearied and undaunted in teaching and preaching Jesus Christ through good report and through evil report. It is the true character and work of every bishop of souls. Remember, do it daily, bless Sabbath. God is in it forever and always. NC. NC. Anopisa Semoto. Where you, NC? Unopisa Semoto. NC, I like it. I like it. God is in it. You can also go and check out a lot of other posts. Zimbabwe media space. Getting hot, hot, hot. You know, Pisa. I like it. But I like Grace Mugabe. She's amazing. Anyone the number, give me number. Yeah, Grace Mugabe. Number pointers. How does she do it? How does she remain so beautiful and so young? Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace Mugabe. Right, I think I've covered everything. If you want to see a joke, a funny joke, go and watch what happened at Zak, Kindness Paradza, and Matanda Moyo, joke of the year. I'll show you the video later on. Vano Semesa, Vanove Zak, Vano Semesa Zak, and the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, the West Commissions in our country. Right, I think I've covered everything. Guys, I know you've got great love for me. Yes, she is a beautiful woman, Grace Mugabe. She's amazing. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Let me show you what's coming this week. So this is a cleanse, right? This drink is a cleanse. Do you see it? So what you do is very simple. If you've bought 3 packets of Mve from us, you go to my office and you get this cleanse for free. So starting Monday, you can go to my office and get one for free. It's worth $20. One of the most expensive drinks. You drink this drink every day for 5 days, a cup. And obviously, you can also buy it on our website. So our website is under development, our shop. But starting next week, you'll be able to go to our shop. Let me show you our shop. It's coming up. It's going to be big. It's going to be amazing. So that is going to be our new shop, shop.gambagwe.com. You will see that the products are there. So you can go over there to our shop and you'll be able to buy products, health products. We only have a few products now, but in fact, in our shop, we've got over 100 products already, which are physically there. So for the guys, all the products I was telling you about yesterday, you'll be able to buy them here. And if you're in Harare, you can pick up immediately. That is amazing. Our shop is going to be amazing. But for this week, you're able to get, if you've bought 3 packets of Mve, you can go and get the drink, which is worth $20 for free. And it is important for you to cleanse. So let me tell you why you need to cleanse your stomach. Cancer comes from a lot of toxins sitting in your stomach for days and days. So every month, for 1 week, you must do a cleanse, which is having this drink. You must also have a probiotic, and you must also have your cereal. That is, next month, we're going to be giving away those for you, and I also give you guidance on how to do that. So if you've bought 3 packets of Mve in Harare, in Bulawayo only, you can go and pick out. You cannot find this drink easy. And I'm bringing it to you for free. So that is amazing. And if you've bought 2, you can buy another one. You have 3, and you can get the drink for free. That drink already in our Harare shop. So by Tuesday, you should be able to do it. Monday, Tuesday, I'll give you guys an update. I would like to thank all of you for watching and for all your support. And the jacket special is ending. So you must know that these are last days of the jacket special. If you buy 1 packet, you get a free jacket. South Africa, Bulawayo in Harare. If you don't buy now, you lose out on the jacket. That will never be repeated. Right, I think we've covered everything. I'll be back here within the next few hours so that we can update you. Remember, today we said Zimbabwe military has attacked an American-funded hospital in Hurungwe, which is led by Kathy McCarthy. They sent 10 special officers soldiers, and these soldiers have been sentenced to over 200 years in jail because their commanding officer, Taringana Kaspanyangura, is refusing to confirm that this was a sanctioned operation. And what has happened is then the court is saying, these guys, even though they appealed, there's no evidence that they were sent to do it. It's just their word against Taringana, Kaspa, Nyagura. And he is not supporting them because he's saying they used weapons that can be linked back to the Zimbabwe National Army, which basically tarnished the image of the Zimbabwe National Army. They should have known not to use guns that can be linked back to the Zimbabwe National Army. This is a terrible thing. These guys are in jail. There are 4 guys because the leadership in the Zimbabwe National Army is afraid to take responsibility and take the hit. Valerio Spanda is directly responsible for what has happened because any order to special forces comes directly from Valerio Spanda, who then takes it to the commanding officer of SAS, who is Taringa Kaspa Nyagura. And to make matters worse, the second in command was also present during this attack at this hospital where they were trying to find information. So the second in command, Fortune Murondatsimba, was present. But for some reason, he's not part of the guys who were jailed. So the fear of the Americans is what is driving the Zimbabwe National Army to refuse to confirm that they were part of this attack at this hospital, counterintelligence operation, which went wrong and resulting in the arrest and incarceration through a court-martial. Mnangagwa is a coward. He is letting the young guys suffer because he cannot take the necessary step of apologizing to the Americans. He should go and apologize and say, we made a mistake. We should not have attacked this hospital. The hospital is called Chidamoyo Hospital. The Zimbabwe military believed that there was something happening in this hospital with the Americans. They went and attacked it. And it turns out that because they used those guns that are linked back to the Zimbabwe National Army, they could not deny it. Hence, they had to firefight by taking these guys to court-martial. And therefore, the guys are what we call 4 guys, 30 years in jail. Very sad. Zvigananda, these guys, Mnangagwa and his team, as Zvigananda, they need to take responsibility for what they did. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And I'll see you again during the day. And a good day to all.